The popular image of Vikings often conjures up visions of horned helmets and savage berserkers, driven by an insatiable lust for plunder. While their warrior spirit is undeniable, this simplistic portrayal fails to capture the full complexity of Viking society. The Vikings were not merely raiders, they were skilled craftsmen, merchants, and explorers, driven by a thirst for adventure and a desire for new opportunities. Their longships, far from being simple vessels of war, were technological marvels of their time, capable of navigating both rivers and open seas. These ships, a testament to their shipbuilding prowess, enabled them to establish trade networks that stretched from the shores of North America to the distant lands of the Caliphate of Baghdad. They traded in furs, amber, walrus ivory, and other valuable commodities, demonstrating their entrepreneurial spirit and their understanding of the interconnectedness of the medieval world. In the next 30 minutes, we will embark on a captivating voyage through time, delving deep into the heart of the Viking Age. Prepare to explore the fjords and forests of Scandinavia, where the story of the Vikings begins. Journey with them as they cross the seas, leaving their mark on the world stage. Discover the truth behind the myths and gain a deeper understanding of a people who were far more than just warriors. This is the story of the Vikings, told in full. This is a tale of exploration and conquest, of trade and cultural exchange, of a people who left an undeniable legacy on the world. Let the journey begin. Despite its challenges, Scandinavia was not a land devoid of beauty or opportunity. The long summer days brought a vibrant green to the landscape, a stark contrast to the stark white of winter. The seas, though often perilous, teemed with fish, providing sustenance and a way of life for coastal communities. The forests, home to a rich variety of wildlife, offered resources for hunting, trapping, and timber. Within these communities, skills were honed and passed down through generations. The art of shipbuilding, essential for navigating the treacherous waters, reached remarkable levels of sophistication. Blacksmiths, working with iron extracted from bogs, forged tools and weapons that were both functional and beautifully crafted. Women, skilled weavers and artisans, created intricate textiles and decorative objects, adding a touch of beauty to the rugged practicality of everyday life. The Vikings' mastery of the sea was not merely a matter of survival, it was woven into the fabric of their identity. Their longships, sleek and agile, were technological marvels of their time, capable of navigating both the open ocean and the shallowest of rivers. These vessels, powered by sail and oar, allowed them to cover vast distances with surprising speed, making them formidable explorers, traders, and, yes, raiders. The construction of a longship was a testament to Viking ingenuity and craftsmanship. Using timber felled in their forests, they created lightweight yet sturdy vessels, their hulls expertly crafted using the clinker-built method, where overlapping planks were fastened together with iron rivets. This technique, combined with the ship's shallow draft, allowed the Vikings to navigate rivers, sail close to shore, and even drag their ships overland, giving them unparalleled access to the waterways of Europe and beyond. Beyond the horizon, the lure of new horizons. While the harsh realities of life in Scandinavia undoubtedly played a role in driving the Vikings outward, it was not simply a case of desperation pushing them to seek their fortunes elsewhere. The Vikings possessed an inherent curiosity, a thirst for adventure, and a desire for wealth and glory that extended beyond the familiar horizons of their homeland. Tales of far-off lands brought back by traders and explorers ignited their imaginations. The sagas, passed down through generations of storytellers, celebrated the exploits of heroes who ventured into the unknown, battling mythical beasts and returning with tales of unimaginable riches. These stories, woven into the fabric of Viking culture, fostered a spirit of adventure and a willingness to challenge the boundaries of the known world. The spark factors igniting the Viking Age. The Viking Age, like any complex historical phenomenon, cannot be attributed to a single cause. It was a confluence of factors, both internal and external, to Scandinavian society that ignited this era of unprecedented exploration, expansion, and at times violence. While the exact triggers remain a subject of debate among historians, several key elements contributed to the rise of the Vikings. One factor was population pressure. Scandinavia, though vast, had limited arable land. As populations grew, competition for resources intensified, potentially pushing some to seek their fortunes elsewhere. The allure of wealth, particularly in the form of silver and slaves, also played a role. The Vikings were well aware of the riches to be found in the monasteries and towns of mainland Europe, making them tempting targets for raids. External pressures, such as the expansionist policies of Charlemagne and his successors, may have further destabilized the region, pushing some Viking groups to seek new territories and opportunities. The shadow of the longships, a new era of fear. Imagine a clear summer's day on the coast of England, the sun glinting off the tranquil waters of the North Sea. Suddenly on the horizon, a sight appears that sends shivers down the spines of those watching from the shore. Longships, their sleek silhouettes low in the water, their dragon prows cutting through the waves, approach with alarming speed. The Vikings had arrived, and with them, a new era of fear dawned upon the unsuspecting communities of Europe. These initial raids were not mere acts of random violence, but rather calculated strikes targeting wealthy and vulnerable locations. Monasteries, often repositories of gold and silver relics, became prime targets, their relative isolation and lack of strong defenses making them easy prey for the swift Viking raiders. Coastal towns and villages, unprepared for the ferocity and speed of these attacks, were also caught off guard, their inhabitants left with the stark choice of fleeing or facing the Vikings' wrath. The year 793 AD marked a turning point in European history. On the holy island of Lindisfarne, off the coast of Northumbria, the Vikings launched a raid that would reverberate throughout Christendom. This attack, meticulously recorded by the shocked and horrified monks who witnessed the carnage, became a symbol of the Vikings' ruthlessness and the vulnerability of Europe's coastal communities. The Vikings, arriving under the cover of darkness, descended upon the unsuspecting monastery with terrifying speed and ferocity. The monks, caught completely off guard, were slaughtered or taken captive. The monastery's treasures, gold, silver, religious relics, were plundered, and the sacred buildings themselves were put to the torch. The news of the Lindisfarne raid spread like wildfire across Europe, instilling fear in the hearts of many and forever associating the Vikings with brutal, unprovoked aggression. The Vikings, driven by a combination of pragmatism and a thirst for wealth, saw raiding as a means to an end. The treasures plundered from monasteries and towns, gold, silver, jewels, and religious artifacts, were not merely trophies of war, but valuable commodities that could be traded, melted down, or used to enhance their own status and power. Equally sought after were slaves. The Vikings, like many societies of their time, practiced slavery, and raids provided a steady supply of captives who could be sold in the slave markets of the East or put to work on their new masters' lands. These slaves, often young men and women captured during raids, represented a valuable source of labor and a tragic consequence of the Vikings' expansion. Emboldened by their early successes, the Vikings expanded their raiding grounds, their long ships becoming a familiar and terrifying sight across the coastal regions of Europe. Ireland, with its scattered monasteries and relatively weak defenses, became a prime target. Viking raids, often involving multiple longships and hundreds of warriors, brought devastation to many parts of the island, leading to the establishment of Viking settlements in Dublin, Limerick, and Waterford. The continent was not spared either. Viking longships, taking advantage of their shallow draft, sailed up rivers like the Seine, the Loire, and the Rhine, penetrating deep into the heart of Francia, now modern-day France. Towns and cities, caught unprepared for the Vikings' swift and brutal tactics, were sacked and plundered. Paris itself was attacked on several occasions, the Vikings' ability to navigate the Seine striking fear into the heart of the Frankish kingdom. The Vikings' success in their early raids can be attributed to several factors, but key among them were their mastery of speed and surprise. Their longships, unlike the heavier vessels of their enemies, were designed for both speed and maneuverability, allowing them to strike quickly and disappear before any organized defense could be mounted. They often attacked at dawn or under the cover of darkness, taking advantage of the element of surprise to overwhelm their opponents. Their warriors, though not necessarily more skilled than their adversaries, were renowned for their ferocity and their willingness to take risks. The psychological impact of these lightning raids, coupled with the Vikings' reputation for brutality, further sowed fear and chaos, making resistance even more difficult. While history often remembers the Vikings for their fearsome raids, their legacy extends far beyond the battlefield. The Vikings were not merely warriors seeking plunder, they were also astute traders, their entrepreneurial spirit leading them to establish vast commercial networks that spanned continents and connected distant cultures. Their longships, so effective in war, also served as vessels of commerce, carrying goods and ideas across the known world. This commercial drive was deeply rooted in Viking culture. Their society, though stratified, allowed for social mobility based on wealth and achievement. A successful trader, laden with exotic goods and precious metals from distant lands, could elevate his status within his community, attracting followers and securing a place of honor. This ambition, coupled with their seafaring skills and their knowledge of waterways, propelled the Vikings to become key players in the burgeoning global economy of the early medieval period. The Vikings' trade routes were as extensive and impressive as their raiding voyages. To the east, they ventured deep into Russia, establishing trading posts along the Volga and Dnieper rivers. These waterways became their maritime Silk Roads, connecting the Baltic Sea to the Caspian Sea and, ultimately, to the bustling markets of Byzantium and the Islamic world. Their arrival in Constantinople, the magnificent capital of the Byzantine Empire, must have been a sight to behold. The Vikings, with their rugged appearance and exotic goods from the north, would have stood out amongst the cosmopolitan crowds of this grand city. They traded furs, timber, slaves, and even swords for the luxury goods of the Byzantines, silks, spices, silver, and Byzantine craftsmanship, evidence of which has been found as far afield as Scandinavia, buried in Viking graves or unearthed from the remains of their settlements. The Vikings' homelands, though lacking the gold and silver mines of the south, were rich in resources that were highly prized in other parts of the world. Furs, obtained through hunting and trapping in the vast forests of Scandinavia, were in high demand in the warmer climates of Europe and the Middle East, coveted for their warmth and luxurious appearance. Walrus ivory, obtained from their hunting expeditions in the Arctic, was another valuable commodity. This hard, white material was prized for its carving qualities, used to create everything from intricate chess pieces to religious icons. Amber, fossilized tree resin found along the Baltic coast, was also traded extensively, its warm golden hues making it a popular material for jewelry and decorative objects. The Vikings' voyages were not always driven solely by trade or plunder. Their restless spirit, coupled with their exceptional seafaring skills, led them to embark on daring voyages of exploration, pushing the boundaries of the known world and establishing settlements in some of the most remote and challenging environments on Earth. Their arrival in Iceland, a volcanic island on the edge of the Arctic Circle, marked a new chapter in Viking history. Here, far from their Scandinavian homelands, they established a thriving colony, their descendants maintaining their unique culture and language for centuries. Greenland, even further west and even more inhospitable, was also colonized by the Vikings, their tenacity and adaptability allowing them to eke out an existence in this harsh, icy land. Perhaps the most remarkable achievement of Viking exploration was their discovery of North America. Around the year 1000 AD, Leif Erikson, a Viking explorer from Greenland, led an expedition that reached the shores of North America nearly 500 years before Columbus. This new land, which they named Vinland, offered fertile land, abundant timber and valuable resources. Though the Viking settlements in Vinland were ultimately short-lived, lasting only a few decades, their discovery of the New World remains a testament to their seafaring prowess and their insatiable thirst for exploration. The Sagas tell tales of their encounters with the native inhabitants, whom they called Skraelings, and their attempts to establish a foothold in this strange and promising land. While the exact location of Vinland is still debated, archaeological evidence at L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada, confirms the Vikings' presence in North America, adding another layer of complexity and intrigue to their enduring legacy. Beyond the brutality, the hallmarks of Viking society, the image of the Viking warrior, axe in hand, charging into battle, dominates our perception of this complex culture. While their martial prowess is undeniable, it represents just one facet of a society bound by intricate social structures, a strong sense of community, and a deep respect for personal honor. Beyond the battlefield, the Vikings were farmers, fishermen, traders, and artisans, their lives governed by laws, customs, and beliefs that shaped their worldview and their interactions with the world around them. Viking society was hierarchical, with a clear distinction between jarls or chieftains, carls or freemen, and thralls or slaves. However, unlike many societies of their time, social mobility was possible. A carl who demonstrated exceptional bravery in battle, skill in trade, or wisdom in council could rise through the ranks, earning the respect of his peers, and potentially even challenging the authority of a jarl. This emphasis on personal achievement, coupled with a strong sense of individual freedom, fostered a dynamic and competitive social environment. The gods of Asgard, a pantheon of power and destiny. The Vikings revered their gods, seeking their favor and fearing their wrath. Odin, the All-Father, god of wisdom and war, sacrificed his eye for knowledge. Thor, with his hammer Mjolnir, protected gods and humans from chaos. Freyja, goddess of love and magic, symbolized fertility and prosperity. The Vikings may not have left behind grand libraries or written histories in the tradition of other cultures, but their voices echo through the centuries in the sagas and runestones that have survived to this day. These sources, though often imbued with myth and legend, provide invaluable insights into their beliefs, values, aspirations, and fears, offering a glimpse into the Viking worldview. The sagas, epic tales passed down orally for generations before being written down centuries later, recount the deeds of heroes, kings, and explorers. They are filled with adventure, romance, betrayal, and supernatural encounters, reflecting the Vikings' fascination with fate, honor, and the power of destiny. Runestones, standing stones inscribed with runes, the Vikings' written language, served as memorials, markers of territory, and testaments to personal achievements. Their terse inscriptions, often commemorating the dead or recording land ownership, offer a tantalizingly brief but personal connection to the individuals who lived, loved, and died during the Viking Age. Section 4. Craftsmen of the North, beauty forged and woven. The Vikings' artistic legacy extends far beyond their storytelling and rune carving. They were skilled craftsmen, their artistry evident in the objects they created, from the weapons they wielded in battle to the jewelry they wore as symbols of status and belief. Their craftsmanship, often intricate and highly detailed, reflected their deep connection to the natural world, their fascination with animal motifs, and their reverence for the gods. Viking swords, forged with exceptional skill, were not merely instruments of war, but objects of beauty and prestige. Their blades, often inscribed with runes or inlaid with precious metals, were prized for their sharpness and durability. Brooches, worn by both men and women, were often elaborately decorated with animal heads, interlacing patterns, or scenes from Norse mythology. These objects served not only as fasteners for clothing, but also as talismans, symbols of status and expressions of personal identity. Section 5. The enduring spirit, resilience and adaptation. The Vikings' ability to adapt and thrive in a variety of environments, from the icy landscapes of Greenland to the fertile plains of Russia, is a testament to their resilience, ingenuity, and pragmatism. They were not bound by rigid traditions, but rather possessed a remarkable capacity to absorb new ideas, technologies, and customs, integrating them into their own culture without losing their distinct identity. Their longships, a marvel of shipbuilding technology, allowed them to navigate rivers, seas, and oceans, connecting them to distant lands and cultures. Their willingness to adopt new ideas is evident in their embrace of Christianity, which gradually replaced their pagan beliefs, albeit often blended with elements of their traditional mythology. This adaptability, coupled with their courage, ambition, and thirst for adventure, enabled the Vikings to leave an indelible mark on the world stage, shaping the course of history and leaving behind a legacy that continues to captivate and intrigue us centuries later. Section 1. Echoes of the North, the enduring mark of the Vikings. As the Viking age ended, their longships vanished, but their impact endured. They wove themselves into Europe's fabric, leaving a lasting legacy. From Ireland to Russia, their genetic footprints and place names remain. Their sagas, echoing through time, remind us of their heroism and fate. The Viking legacy in England is profound. The Danelaw region stands as a testament to their impact, where Viking and Anglo-Saxon cultures intertwined, creating a unique cultural hybrid. This fusion enriched English society, leaving a mark on its legal system and language. The name Danelaw reflects Viking influence, derived from Old Norse Danelag. For centuries, this region had a distinct system. Viking traditions influenced English common law, contributing to trial by jury and habeas corpus. Their language seeped into everyday speech, leaving words like berserk, skull, and knife, reminders of their martial heritage, alongside terms like husband, window, and Thursday, reflecting their integration into English life. The image of the Viking raider belies their complex ambitions. They were not merely agents of chaos, but keen political strategists. Transitioning from raiders to rulers, they founded dynasties. Their influence spanned from Ireland to Russia, shaping Europe. In Ireland, Viking kings shaped political and cultural development. Canute the Great ruled a vast North Sea empire, demonstrating their statesmanship. The Viking legacy extends far beyond their settlements, the echoes of their language, or the artistic expressions of their culture. It is a legacy woven into the human experience, a testament to exploration, adaptation, and resilience. Driven by population pressures, the lure of wealth and adventure, they ventured beyond their homeland, leaving an undeniable mark. Their story is a tapestry woven from countless threads, each representing legacies. The Vikings embody this truth. They challenge us to look beyond, to grapple with the past and appreciate the human spirit, to explore, adapt, and leave our mark. The Viking Age, like all eras, was not destined to last. By the 11th century, the once familiar sight of longships laden with warriors had begun to fade. The Christianization of Scandinavia eroded the religious and cultural foundations of Viking expansion. The rise of powerful kingdoms and improved defenses made Viking raids less profitable and more perilous. Section 2. Echoes in the blood, whispers in the wind, the unseen legacy. The Viking Age may have ended, but its echoes linger in settlements and societies. Their genetic legacy is traced in millions across Europe, a testament to their voyages and conquests. Their language influenced English, Russian, French, and more, a reminder of their enduring impact. Beyond the tangible, they left a legacy of ideas and values. Their emphasis on honor, courage, and exploration influenced national identities and cultural narratives. The Vikings remind us of history's complexities, challenging simplistic narratives and highlighting human ambition. Their quest for power and influence endures. Section 3. The Vikings, not merely raiders, but architects of change. The Vikings were not just raiders, but catalysts for change, reshaping political structures and cultural identities across Europe. Their voyages expanded Europe's horizons, forging new trade routes and spreading ideas and technologies. Their settlements in harsh environments showcased their resilience and adaptability. The Vikings helped shape a more interconnected and culturally diverse world. Section 4. A legacy forged in iron and fire, enduring in story and stone. The Viking legacy resonates in our imagination, fueled by their stories, art, and remnants scattered across the globe. From towering runestones to epic sagas, their influence endures. Their bold geometric patterns and intricate knotwork designs inspire modern art and fashion. Viking myths and legends continue to inspire writers, filmmakers, and musicians. Their timeless themes resonate across cultures and generations. Section 5. The Vikings, a mirror to humanity, reflecting our capacity for both darkness and light. The Vikings reflect both the darkness and light within us. Their brutality and raids show the darker side of human nature, yet they were also explorers, traders, and artisans with a deep respect for personal honor and community. Their story is a testament to the human spirit's resilience and adaptability. The Vikings remind us that history is a complex tapestry of human choices and legacies.